for so many years. Gentlelady is recognized. She has an amendment at the desk. Clerk will report.
Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 6570 offered by Ms. Hageman of Wyoming.
The point of order from the gentleman from Arizona. The gentlelady from Wyoming is recognized to speak on her amendment.
Thank you. The amendment that I am proposing as currently drafted would amend 50 U.S.C. 1871, which requires the Attorney General to report to the Intelligence and Judiciary Committees of the House and Senate on a semi-annual basis on persons targeted by FISA Title I surveillance orders. The amendment strengthens this reporting to curb past abuses by requiring the AG to disclose the identity of any person who is targeted who is associated with a candidate for president of a major party, and it also adds the Speaker and Minority Leader of the House and Majority and Minority Leader of the Senate as report recipients. The intention of this amendment is to deter future abuse and provide for oversight into the process. Current reporting requirements do not inform Congress when the intelligence community is using FISA against campaign staff. Not only would Congress now receive this information, but it would likely detour the FBI from opening an unwarranted case against an American based on their political affiliation, because the agency would have to alert some of the highest elected members of that person's party. The heads of each party would be able to watch over their people to prevent abuse. In 2019, the DOJ Inspector General reported on the abuses and missteps in the FISA orders obtained for Crossfire Hurricane, finding 17 significant errors or omissions and 51 wrong or unsupported factual assertions in the applications that allowed Carter Page to be illegally surveilled for 11 months. These findings were confirmed in the Durham report this committee received testimony on earlier this year, and also found that political and confirmation bias led the FBI to lie to the FISC in order to improperly spy on a president's campaign. Abuses of FISA have made their way into our electoral system, and every member on this diet and in this body should be concerned about federal law enforcement's and the intelligence community's proven ability to interfere in our election process. These abuses could happen to any party, candidate or campaign staffer, depending on influences within the FBI versus domestic political movements. My amendment seeks to serve as a deterrent to these abuses in the future by injecting transparency in the process. If there was a desire to seek a FISA order against an American affiliated with a political campaign for nefarious reasons, the FBI would need to decide its commitment to such an effort if it had to report the investigations to some of the highest elected party leaders in our system of government. If such an order was sought and granted, congressional leaders would be made aware that the candidate running for president as a member of their party was being surveilled. Such oversight can lead to corrective action. At the same time, congressional leaders of the opposing party would also be notified that the federal government is surveilling their political opposition, hopefully giving them pause about allowing government surveillance of their opponents that they would be aware of going forward. Mr. Chairman, this is a great bill, and it will make meaningful reform to protect the constitutionally secured rights of our constituents, including reforms to address the shortcomings and illegal action revealed in the IG and Durham reports. The expansion of the amicus into sensitive investigative matters is a step in the right direction to address some of these past abuses. My amendment seeks to take this reform one step further by strengthening reporting requirements. If passed and combined with the other reforms in this bill, all Americans who want to use their First Amendment rights to support political parties and candidates could exercise those rights to the fullest without the fear that this affiliation would be the basis for government surveillance. And with all that said, I also understand the balance that has been struck on this particular bill. So I will withdraw my amendment, but hope that we can continue to pursue much-needed FISA and Section 702 reform in the future. Thank you.
Without objection, the amendment is withdrawn. We appreciate the gentlelady's comments on the bill and her amendment. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Indiana, Ms. Sparks.
I have amendment at the desk.
The lady designate, will the gentlelady designate her amendment?
Did someone give it to you? I have a copy of the amendment related to the audit.
The audit one?
Yeah. Let me see.
Okay.
28.
As long as the clerk has it, we can, the clerk, okay.
Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 6570, offered by Mrs. Sparks of Indiana.
Without objection, the amendment we consider as read. The gentlelady's point of,
Can we get the copy of it? While you're waiting for the copy of the amendment, I'm going to create this. It's a very simple amendment. So what it does, so I think we're rightly adding annual audit of FISA compliance by Inspector General, because we do need to have more independent eyes on the processes, because there are a lot of audits that are done by, self-reporting by Department of Justice, a lot of audits that, the FISC does, they're kind of ad hoc. So I think it's important for us to have Inspector General doing audits. So it's a very good part of the bill that we're doing on page 29. So what I really have seen in a lot of ways, we do a lot of these audits, but they never really reviewed and presented when we have oversight hearings and never discussed. So it's we have reporting for the sake of reporting, not action. So what it does, it says, when we have Attorney General come in our oversight hearing and talking about, oversight of the Department of Justice is doing, including oversight of FBI and all of the other things it's supposed to do, they also should discuss this Inspector General audit report and see what was done and what is done. But it's important for us to bring attention, because it is a very material issue that we'll actually have a discussion of this during our oversight hearing with Attorney General. And this Inspector General report I actually looked at by the executive branch, and remediation or other actions reported are happening, and they can talk to us about that. So it's a very simple amendment. All it just says, and when Attorney General comes to oversight hearing in the House and the Senate, Attorney General shall discuss this Inspector General report on annual audit of FISA. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Does the gentleman insist on his point of order? Gentleman withdraws. The chair recognizes. Okay. Chair recognizes the ranking member.
Thank you. There's already, I oppose the amendment is unnecessary, basically. There's already a reporting requirement. The Attorney General already comes annually to the Judiciary Committees, and if he's required to report this anyway, and if he doesn't report it adequately, you can ask him a question. So I just think it's unnecessary.
Would the gentleman yield?
Sure.
Yeah, but it's not in the statute that Attorney General shall actually. So I want to make sure that when the Attorney General comes here, he or she is prepared to actually do that. Because if it is in the code and the part of the hearing, Attorney General is what will be discussed, we have more meaningful discussions, because they will have to be referring to this report that they should be reviewing. Otherwise, Attorney General will sit in this committee and say, well, I'll get back, I'll do this, and it never happens.
Reclaiming
so
my
that's
time.
why it's important for them to be familiar with that report.
Time belongs to the gentleman.
My time, it would be improper for Congress to mandate that the committee hold a hearing on a particular subject.
No,
we normally do anyway.
No, but the gentleman will yield. This is not a committee.
Wait. The gentleman controls the time.
Yeah. But that's what it would do. I'll yield.
Gentlelady is recognized.
Well, this is actually not. We already have oversight hearing. All it says, it's not new hearing. It's nothing required. We already have an Attorney General doing the hearing. So as a part of the hearing, Attorney General should, discuss this Inspector General report. So he needs to say, based on my assessment, so that we need to make sure that Attorney General is looking at this report and addressing with Congress, because ultimately, if we want to do oversight functions, we need to make sure that somebody's taking actions. So all it says that they need to discuss already. It doesn't require any hearing.
Reclaiming my time.
Well, this is my time. I was
No, it's still Mr. Nadler's time.
Okay, then, yeah.
Let me just say, if the Attorney General comes before the committee every year, if he doesn't discuss this, we can always ask him questions about it. I just don't see what the point of this amendment is. What we're putting into statute, something that happens. That if it doesn't happen, we ask the questions. He's got to be prepared for it.
The gentleman yield.
I'll yield to the chairman.
I appreciate the ranking member, and I appreciate the gentlelady from Indiana, and I know the objectives she wants, but I do think the ranking member makes a good point. The IG is already obligated to come to give us information. We just adopted 2 amendments that said he has to do that now. Excuse me. We have to get that information on a quarterly basis, and the information that comes to us has to be more detailed, more of what we want to see. The Attorney General does come. I think the Attorney General is going to be on notice that the Judiciary Committee wants to ask him or her, whoever that happens to be at the time, whoever the Attorney General is, questions about the FISA law and how it works. When we have him next year, we can write the letter. I bet Mr. Nadler would sign it.
Yep.
We'll make it a letter from Ms. Sparks, the gentlelady from Indiana, saying, when you come, Mr. Attorney General, be ready to answer these questions on FISA and on 702, whatever we want to, but we can put him on notice. He better be prepared so he doesn't get what you and I have all experienced, where he says, oh, I'll have to get back with you. So I appreciate what the lady's doing. I don't necessarily think that the amendment is necessary. With that, I yield back to the ranking member.
I'll just say I agree. It's just unnecessary to put it into statute. And we should every year ask the Attorney General before he comes in to be prepared to talk about FISA and 702. I'm sure we will. I yield back.
Who seeks recognition on the amendment? The question occurs on the amendment from the gentlelady from Indiana. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no.
No.
Opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment is not adopted. Anyone else seek recognition on? Okay, you're very nice. I appreciate it, Victoria. Okay. Who does? The gentlelady from Pennsylvania wishes to speak on the amendment in the nature of a substitute, and
move to strike the last word.
Strike the last word. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say that I'm really heartened by what has gone on here over the course of many years, but also recent weeks, coming together in this committee over something extremely important. I rise in support of H.R. 6570, the Protect Liberty and Endless Warrant Surveillance Act, reforming the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, known as FISA. As lawmakers and members of the Judiciary Committee, it's our job to strike the right balance between often competing interests. Today, we must safeguard both our national security as well as our constitutional rights of privacy. When you take a look at the history and what has been learned through the reporting, that in 2021, for example, the FBI made nearly 3.4 million queries of U.S. persons. It's stunning and shocking, and yes, while they have recognized it and have made some reforms on their own, it is our job to make sure we hold them to a far greater standard as they protect our national security. I'm encouraged that so many members on both sides of this hearing room take this responsibility seriously when it comes to FISA Section 702. Appalling overuse of this powerful tool, which went unchecked and unaudited for too long, must stop. The warrant requirement and other key provisions at the heart of this bipartisan bill will leave American civil rights better defended, as we still allow the agencies to do the important work of keeping us safe. I urge my colleagues to join me in support of these essential reforms, and I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Anyone else seek recognition on? The question is on the adoption of the amendment in the nature of a substitute as amended. This will be followed immediately by a vote on reporting the bill. All those in favor say aye. 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 Those opposed, no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Reporting quorum being present, the question is on favorably reporting the bill as amended. Again, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is ordered to be reported favorably to the House. The sponsor